Look, I'm just gonna say it. This movie tries to handle too many character arcs. We have Shrek, who obviously has to learn to find courage and realize that you can never be ready for anything, whether that's becoming a dad or king. Honestly, I don't mind this. If this movie ended with Shrek being the king and a dad, I would have been happy. The once recluse ogre now has a family and is responsible for the lives of many people. He is now a symbol that ogres aren't terrible. It would have been a great way to bring his emotional arc to conclusion. But nah, we're gonna let him grow in a different direction and we're gonna introduce another character, Arthur Pendragon. Here's my issue with this kid. His arc is literally the same as Shrek's. He too must learn to find courage and do things he is not ready for. I look at him and think, oh, you're just an excuse to get Shrek out the kingdom. We have a queen, a mature woman who displayed great emotional intelligence in the last movie. Probably knows more about being a monarch than anyone else in the kingdom. But let's let the high school kid take over. It does not help that his story is handled super fast, so it leaves me with a couple of questions. If you're an heir, that means you're royalty, bro. You are telling me that even though people knew you existed, they just let you be? Your uncle, he knew who you were? He could have literally let you grow up in a castle. What happened that this kid had to be abandoned? Why are you the most hated kid in your school? You know how shitty you must be for a nurse to engage in your bullying? It's freaking nuts! What is this kid's story? In one scene, he's absolutely shocked at the prospect of being a king. And in another, he says, I always knew I was royalty. Bro, can we get your story straight? They played a sympathy card with the abandoned dad and him being bullied, and that's fine. It's a solid attempt at building substance around the character. But they don't develop his redeeming qualities. Majority of the time I was thinking, why am I rooting for this kid? Like why? When he learns that he's a king, he gives this speech to his high school mates that leave me thinking, yeah, fuck this kid. And I'm not saying he is not justified. I'm just saying this doesn't make me excited to have him as a new king. When I look at this kid, I feel like something is off. Like he shouldn't be here. I mean, I guess he delivered a great speech to the villains, but even that adds to my point. Why are all the villains suddenly having positive change arcs? I wasn't invested in your character development. When you change, it doesn't hit. All it takes is speeches to sway these guys. If it's that easy to make you switch sides, then every time you do, it feels like an ass pull. The idea of a movie about fairy tale villains learning the error of their ways and finding other passions is not bad. Doesn't work when there is a million other character arcs that we have to go through in an hour and a half. The princes go from women who wait to be saved and grow into women who get shit done by themselves. Another character arc. The donkey and puss situation feels like it was an attempt to go Freaky Friday on them. You know, switch bodies so they can gain an understanding of each other at the end of the movie. There is this underlying conflict between the two, and I feel like someone was like, let's get them to a good place. But that idea was half-assed and dropped because they couldn't juggle that many characters. The fundamental thing I am saying is trying to do too much with too many characters in a short amount of time. Every plot and character development feels half-baked. I haven't even gotten to the main villain yet, Prince Charming. As an antagonist, I was underwhelmed. We just came from Fairy Godmother. Her entire way of viewing life was the opposite of our heroes. She is absolutely central to Shrek's character development in Shrek 2. And she knows how to attack Shrek in the most hurtful ways. She is a threat. She is charismatic. She is powerful. She is... Wait. This is starting to get weird. Normally, a villain's actions are tied to the hero's character development, but she doesn't even do that. The journey that Shrek goes on doesn't involve the villain at all. Shrek's development can absolutely happen without him. It would be easy to pull off. He gives out this passive energy that I'm not a fan of. Also, Shrek is stronger than him, and we have seen Shrek take down many people at the same time in the previous movies. In fact, in this movie, Shrek makes light work of his people. Bro, there's no moment in this movie where I 100% believe we're fucked. You're expecting me to believe that Fiona, the girl who beat up a group of men in her human form, couldn't handle Charming? The girl who is strong enough to do this while pregnant? Even when he loses in a way that makes me realize you were never a threat, bro. This guy's main motivation is based on entitlement, which makes sense because he was promised the kingdom. and it actually ties in well with the previous narrative. I personally would have gone for the fuck the crowd, you guys will pay for what you did to my mother, but I'm just a YouTuber. This was a good opportunity to introduce a new villain who would bring something new to the franchise, but we used a weaker villain from an old movie. 100% disappointed. Also, why the fuck do you look like our new king? What I liked about the second movie is that it offered world expansion. We got to see a new land that gave us more context to this world and interesting characters. In this movie, we get a high school, a moody teenager, and a crazy Merlin. Huh? You know, when I watched this movie, my immediate thought was, something feels off. And upon a rewatch, it is off. There are a lot of issues with this show. There's only one way I can enjoy this movie, and that's slightly turning my brain off.